to Jubilee Circle, and you have arrived here via your television or your tablet or whatever you're watching on, just as everybody else walked into the room. It was amazing. It was like the 11:03 bus showed up, and everybody got here all at the same time. So welcome, everybody. We are so glad that everyone is here with us this morning as we continue our holiday mini-via called AHSCKNYE, in which we are celebrating the season of Advent, Hanukkah, Solstice, Christmas, New Year's, and Epiphany. And our theme for this mini-via is ordinary miracles, and we are celebrating the ways we encounter miracles in all of the mundane and ordinary times of our lives. You know, if I had talked to my mother about the idea of raising my consciousness, she would have looked at me like I had three heads. My good old Southern Baptist mama. If I had told her also that one of the best teachers for raising your consciousness was a fellow called Jesus, she would have kicked me out of the house for uttering such blasphemy. My mother, though, was from a different era, where they didn't even think to question consciousness, let alone what level it might be at any given moment. It's not like the idea of growing into our higher consciousness wasn't out there. I mean, Jesus, like I said, he taught it. So did the Buddha. So did Mohammed. So did all of the anonymous mystics out there before them. This concept is not new. But in our capitalistic culture that prizes individuality and competition and keeping up with the latest corporate manufactured trends, this idea of snapping ourselves out of that herd mentality is heretical and unthinkable to so many people. And when one dares to do so, to follow the ancient tradition of getting higher, we're called names, we're criticized, we're disregarded. The culture, which is created by our collective egos, by the way, hopes that shame and ridicule will bring us right back into line. We know, however, that getting higher and higher in our consciousness is the entire point of our journey in this bodily world. It is not about accumulating wealth. It is not about accumulating power or prestige. It's about remembering who we truly are and stepping into the truth while we are here, and then embodying that higher love within this world of illusion. When we are determined jubilants, when we are determined to get high, to live in a state of joy and love and peace while we are inhabiting these bodies, that's when we begin to experience miracles that are so earth-shattering that all we can manage to say is,
oh yeah.
Yeah, please rise as you're able. And we begin, as we usually do here at Jubilee Circle, by remembering the four elements, the air and the water and the earth and the fire. And we burn black sage as a reminder to set your intention, not just for this day, but for your life, for the world, for Jubilee Circle, for everyone that you know, an intention of love, an intention of unity. And as we orient ourselves in this sacred space and sacred time, we call the four directions, and so I invite you to turn and face the east. As the sun rises and gets high in the sky this day and every day, we too are meant to go higher and higher with each passing day. I invite you in this moment, check in with your body. How are you feeling? Are you tired? Are you energized? Are you achy or pain-free? Are you some combination of both? Jubilants, we are meant to live in a higher state, whether it's physical, mental, or spiritual. So take your cue from the sun and begin your journey now of rising higher today. Quarter turn to the right, we face the south. The south's purpose is to go higher and higher in temperature, providing the warmth we and all living things need to grow and to flourish. So check in with yourself in this moment. Are you raising the temperature in your own life? Are you becoming warmer to those around you? Are you using the heat of your passion and your love to make this world a better place? I invite you this morning, take a cue from the south and burn hot with the love of the holy. Quarter turn to the right, we face the west. As the stars rise higher and higher in the night sky on this and every evening, allow it to remind you that your whole function here is to shine God's light of love in the world. I invite you to take a cue from the west, jubilants, and allow that light of love to shine sage around the room here. Everybody needs a little bit of that this morning. All right. Some sage for you, my friend. Did I get you? Come on, man.
If you're in the room and you don't have a bulletin, they're over here beside the mirror.
Oh, I don't know. All right. Coming back. Promise I haven't forgotten you. Yeah, if you need a bulletin this morning, you can go to jubileecircle.com, download the bulletin, have all the readings and the lyrics and the songs and everything. And here in the room, we're going to start off with a little good old-fashioned Stevie Winwood song from 1986, called Back in the High Life. That's where we want to get to today and every day, right? Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, y'all awake out there? Hello? Is this thing on? Good morning, everybody. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. That's a fun song. You may be seated. All right, welcome everybody again to Jubilee Circle, and we are in the A part of our AHSCKNYE, which is Advent, which is sort of the longest part, the 4 weeks before Christmas time.
Can you
And
say
we
that
are,
again?
huh?
Can you say that again?
AHSCKNYE.
Conehead.
That's after, that's, right. It's after I've had a few. It's AHSCKNYE. It's when you realize Christmas is a week away and you go, AHSCKNYE. It's only a week away. All right, so we are in the 4th Sunday of Advent, and our theme in the 4th Sunday of Advent is love. And according to A Course in Miracles, chapter 24, love is extension. To withhold the smallest gift is not to know love's purpose. Love offers everything forever. Hold back but one belief, one offering, and love is gone because you asked a substitute to take its place. This bodily world jubilance, it is a place of love withheld, love hoarded, love conditioned and hollowed out. We make a mockery of love when we refuse in any moment to give birth to it when it is needed the most. It is said that only love is real, and every one of us has experienced this in that moment when a hand is extended in friendship, when someone offers help, when someone smiles at us in recognition, a moment of kindness. This is when love has entered our lives, and in that moment we have felt the extension of holy love that instantly rekindles within us those divine feelings of hope and peace and joy that often seem to feel fleeting in this bodily world. And as Bob comes forward, we will light all of our main candles there. We'll light that Christ candle on our Christmas Eve. But we will light all of our candles, and today we light the candle of love. And as we light the candle of love, let us remember, there is no love but God's love, and our purpose is to give birth to it in every moment, to make it real in this world. Coming up this week, it's going to be very exciting for those of us who like winter. Because at 10:59, and it's also exciting to those of us who like the return of the light. At 10:59 a.m. this Tuesday, the North Pole will tilt 23.5 degrees away from the sun, and it will give us the longest night of the year. And of course, we call this phenomenon
Solstice.
winter solstice. And at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, the daylight hours will begin to lengthen. The darkness will recede. It'll be over in a minute, baby. It'll be all right. The light is coming. Yes, it is. And we begin our march into the spring season. So the winter solstice, it's celebrated by many people around the world as the beginning of the return of the sun, that darkness turning into light. The Talmud recognizes the winter solstice, and I'm going to mess this up, Michael, so you might help me. Tukafat Tevet? Tukafat Tevet?
We'll go with that.
Something close. In China, the Dongji Festival is celebrated in the winter solstice by families getting together and eating special festive food. Until the 16th century, the winter months were a time of famine in Northern Europe. They didn't have Walmarts, apparently. Most cattle were slaughtered, sorry, Keith, so that they wouldn't have to be fed during the winter, making the solstice a time when fresh meat was plentiful. So most celebrations in the winter solstice in Europe involve celebrations and feasting. In pre-Christian Scandinavia, the Feast of Yule, or Yule, lasted for 12 days, celebrating the rebirth of the sun god and giving rise to the custom of our Yule log. In ancient Rome, the winter solstice was celebrated in the Feast of Saturnalia to honor Saturn, the god of agricultural bounty. I saw a nice meme on Facebook the other day that says, "Keep Saturn in Saturnalia." So yes, we'll keep Saturn in there. It lasted about a week. Saturnalia was characterized by feasting, debauchery, and gift-giving. So get your debauchery on this week. With Emperor Constantine's conversion to Christianity, though, many of those customs, as we know, were just later absorbed into this Christmas celebration. And one of the most famous celebrations of the winter solstice in the world will take place this week at the ancient ruins of Stonehenge. Thousands of druids and pagans will gather there to chant and dance and sing while waiting to see that spectacular sunrise. There will be a Stonehenge kind of day. So I would like to say a little prayer Join me in a little prayer and reflection to welcome this coming solstice. From the rising of the midwinter moon, may darkness and light dance together, O shining one. In this season, make us short on grumpy thoughts, long on sharing words of gentleness. Make us short on being rushed, long on attentiveness. Make us short on seeing what's right before us, long on peering into the horizon. Make us short on out-of-control to-do lists, long on savoring kindness. Make us short on overlooking the dark sky, long on gazing at the twinkling stars. Make us short on tradition as a habit, long on re-owning and recreating. Make us short on ignoring the hungry, long on making a delicious meal. Make us short on rushing, long on wondering and pondering. Make us short on walking past those sleeping in the cold, long on sharing blankets and hot tea. Make us short on longing for what's next, and long on savoring the darkness. Oh yeah. All right, so a little bit about us. Jubilee Circle here. We are an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community that we teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that is found in all mainstream religions, metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and inspired secular and religious writers and teachers throughout the ages. We use popular music, educational and artistic events, and other community-building activities as we seek to create a space for everyone to experience transformation so then they can go out and be that transformation in the world. And we believe that we are here to expand our souls, to find a deeper meaning to life, to renew our commitment constantly to peace and love and justice, and learn how to love wastefully and undergo a transformation from the inside out to discover how to live more fully into our higher divine self. We also recognize we are part of God's good creation. We are formed not just in stardust, but in love and in joy. And we humans, though we forget this, we believe that we're lost in this world of paradox and separation because we encounter others and we judge them as either beautiful or ugly, or good or bad, or generous or stingy, or loving and recalcitrant. One day y'all are just going to hang me out to dry. But because you're all recalcitrant that way. What was the word you used last week?
Obstreperous.
Obstreperous. All right, that might be our new word. It's worse than recalcitrant.
Yeah, it's the, gotta watch.
It's recalcitrant square.
When recalcitrants steps up the next notch.
All right.
We gotta watch for that.
All right. But let us remember our true function here, Jubilants. It's to continually return to the home that we've never really left while we embody and become that open channel for love in this world, the love that has created all of us. Oh, yeah. All right, just a few announcements. Next Sunday will be the 26th, so Christmas will already have come and gone. We'll use music from Sister Hazel to explore the ordinary miracle of seeing the world differently. And at 6:30 on this Friday, December 24th, we're going to have a short and sweet Christmas Eve celebration. We're going to sing some classic Christmas songs and learn about how we live by our stories, for better or worse. Wednesdays at 7:30, we have an informal discussion group on A Course in Miracles. Lee McEachern is heading that up. Lee, raise your hand. All right, back there. I can only see half your faces from here. So if you've been reading the course for years, or if you're brand new, just come. It's a very informal discussion group, and you would be welcome. Our open mic will be Friday, January 7th, our coffee house and open mic. John and Carrie Scollin will be our feature act starting at 7 o'clock, and then the open mic starts at 8. On Monday, January 10th, I'm going to start a meditation workshop on Monday nights, and we're going to follow Sharon Salzberg's book, Real Happiness, as a guide. You don't have to buy the book. All the information that you need will be provided. We'll meet at 6 o'clock, and then our yoga instructor, Malika Daniels, will be here on Monday nights to lead some yoga. So you can come for the meditation, stay for the yoga, and get like a full, beautiful night on a Monday night, starting January 10th. Also coming in January, we're going to start Soundy School in the space next door, and that will be at 10:30 on Sunday mornings for a time of meditation and some sound healing and just centering ourselves before we come into service, into celebration. All right. Did I miss anything? No? Hearing no objections, the motion passes. and we move on.
Say,
Yes, ma'am.
last Monday, I was able to take $800 to Nicole Jones and Corey, who now goes by the name Jesse, and so they will have a Christmas.
All right, right.
And, yeah.
Yay, thanks to everybody who contributed. Tori and Nicole will have a wonderful
There was a
Christmas.
Christmas card with it that said it was from the Jubilee family. And y'all, she's also got MS as well as cancer. And her medications are $6,000 combined.
Wow.
Covered by Medicaid, thank goodness. If she were to go to work, which she's not well enough to go to work, she would lose of that and
Yeah.
any other government subsidy she gets. But she was so grateful.
Yes, and she'll get another 500 from the good folks at Good Unlimited who run the Miracle House here. So we're just waiting for those funds to come through, and they will have even more. So yes, Tori and Nicole Jones will be having a wonderful Christmas. Thank you, Jubilee family, for making that happen. Oh yeah. Hear these wise and holy words.
From the Jesus story, Matthew 7:24-27. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on a rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall because it had been founded on rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. From A Course in Miracles, chapter 31. Trials are but lessons that you failed to learn, presented once again. So where you made a faulty choice before, you now can make a better one, and thus escape all pain that what you chose before has brought to you. In every difficulty, all distress, and each perplexity, Christ calls you and gently says, "My sibling, choose again." He would not leave one source of pain unhealed, nor any image left to veil the truth. He would remove all misery from you whom God created, alter unto joy. From Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul. When a blockage gets hit, it's a good thing. It's time to open up internally and release the blocked energy. If you let go and permit the purification process to take place inside, that blocked energy will be released. When it's released and allowed to flow up, it becomes purified and merges back into your center of consciousness. This energy then strengthens you instead of weakening you. You begin to go up and up, higher and higher, and you learn the secret of ascent. Never look down, always look up.
These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. All
Hallelujah.
creation speaks, whatever.
There's
All
lots of
crea-
speaking.
whatever.
Plenty of speaking going on.
I think that's the second week I messed that up. We say it forever and ever, and I don't have it memorized. All right, let's all stand, sing, and y'all greet one another however you choose. Elbows, hugs, waves. 2, 3, 4. Vibrating in the air, dog that walked in. Oh, it's all right. Cece's over here asleep. She's not worried about it right now. Y'all maybe see we have the little German Shepherd puppy that came in. It's so cute. Uh-oh, uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Here she comes, here she comes, here she comes.
Jessica.
Jessica, just let her greet him. Say hi.
Oh, all right.
They'll be fine. She's
We
cool.
might have a little kerfuffle here. Hang on. I think it's love. Oh, Cece's like, that one's all right. That one's all right. I think you're okay, Virginia. All right. We got 3 puppies here today.
It's Puppy Christmas.
Lots of humans and puppies.
And a baby.
And a baby. It is a fun day today. Welcome everybody to the chaos. That's a beautiful puppy there.
She is beautiful. Cece, come on back up here.
All right, Cece, come on.
Come here, baby girl.
Good girl. Thank you. All right.
Huh?
She says, "Thank you, Candace, for my pets. It's so good."
This is the Cece from Cece and the Recalcitrants. I am also Cece, so we get along well. We both Cece. All right. Our song this morning is from the folk rock duo Brewer and Shipley, who were popular back in the 60s and 70s. Their biggest hit is the one we're doing today called One Toke Over the Line, which was released back in 1970. And we mentioned last Sunday that this was covered by a couple called Dale and Gale on the Lawrence Welk show back in the 60s. And Lawrence Welk called it a new modern day spiritual.
Oh, yeah. Woo!
And today we aim to make it one. We're going to reinterpret this lovely little song, so make of it what you will. 2, 3, 4. Everybody now. One toe over the line, sweet Jesus. One toe over the line. Sitting downtown in a railway station. One toe over the line. Waiting for the train that goes home, sweet Mary, hoping that the train's on time. Sitting downtown in a railway station. One toe over the line. I've been changing, as you can plainly see. I felt the joy when I learned about the pain, and my mama said, if I should choose to make it part of me, would surely strike me dead. And now I'm one toe over the line, sweet Jesus, one toe over the line. Sitting downtown in a railway station, one toe over the line. Waiting for the train that goes home, sweet Mary, hoping that the train's on time. Sitting downtown in a railway station, one toe over the line. I love that song. Don't mean to be a downer, but after all that happy song. A month ago today, Beth and I lost one of our most precious kitty companions named Salix. He was apparently the victim of a hit and run. We really don't know. I called Salix Big White Kitty because that's exactly what he was. He was big and he was solid white. And I have a love of obvious names. And Sal loved being an indoor-outdoor kitty. And we obliged his free spirit. After we moved into our new house last March, he quickly became the neighborhood cat. It's okay, it'll be all right. Talking about cats and the dogs don't like that. Neighbors would tell me that he would visit their houses around the same time every day for head scritches, for conversation, or just to taunt their indoor cats with his free-willing lifestyle. And he had a schedule. He'd be like, let me out, it's time for me to go. And when I would walk the dogs, Salix would join us, either on the first leg of the journey or on the last, making sure that the dogs were always looking squarely at his butt as he led the pack. My pain over the loss of my big white kitty, it's still a bit fresh, of course, but I'm still just beginning to plumb the depths of the lessons that this amazing creature taught me in the 2 short years that he lived with us. The biggest lesson I think this kitty taught me in the past month, since his absence, is how to embrace joy with a whole heart. Because you see, I spent a few days blaming myself for Sal's untimely death. Not because I allowed him to go outside. I mean, yeah, that can shorten a cat's life, but it doesn't have to. My 20-year-old cat, George, was an indoor-outdoor cat for a long time, and he still lounges in the backyard these days, so it's possible to live a good life both inside and out. No, I blamed Salix's death on myself because just a day or so before it actually happened, I allowed myself to be really and truly happy. Now, I know that may not make sense to a lot of people, but here's how my usual pattern of life has gone up until this moment. Whenever I would get really happy with my life, something bad would happen. The other shoe would drop. This pattern, of course, began when I was 9 years old, living the middle-class dream with 2 parents, a house in the burbs, and everything I could ever want or imagine being handed to me. Then, my parents got divorced. My mom, my brother, and I were forced out of that middle-class lifestyle into the hardscrabble life of the federal housing projects. And I would see this pattern play out over years in my life. I'd get happy, and relationships would end. I'd get happy, and jobs would end. I'd get happy, and friends would die or leave me in some other way. I'd get happy, and the wrong person would get elected president. No matter where I looked, the pattern appeared to be repeating itself ad nauseum and without fail. And then it happened again a month ago. I got really happy, and my cat died. Right after Salix's death, the old tape started to play again. You got too happy. You brought this on yourself. Only this time was different. I stopped listening to that tape, and I had to laugh at it because I suddenly recognized this endless loop of stupidity for what it was. An old pattern that the ego had developed to keep me stuck, to keep me dissatisfied with life, so I would keep playing its pointless game of seek but do not find. Upon examination, this pattern is stupid at best and hilarious at worst. I mean, how arrogant is it? Just think for a minute. How arrogant is it to think that my choice, my personal little choice to feel happy affects anything outside of me? Be it as small as a cat dying or as big as the end of democracy itself. I mean, how in the world would I have so much power over anything going on out here? In truth, things simply happen. And then we judge them as good or bad.
That was your ego.
That was my ego, it was.
Good job, Bob.
Bob's getting it.
Bob's getting it.
Bring him a cookie.
That's right. Give him a Scooby snack. He's got it.
So close to solipsism.
Yes. Yeah. What we do, say, or think about anything in this world doesn't cause anything else to happen. Things simply happen. I was seeing cause and effect where it didn't exist. I also recognized that this was a pattern that my inner child had been using for years to protect itself from pain. And here's how its logic goes. If I don't get too happy, then the bad things won't happen, and I'll be safe. And sadly, it never really worked out that well. Things I judged as bad would still happen, and then I've just spent a lifetime never allowing myself to experience true happiness. In every difficulty, A Course in Miracles says, all distress and each perplexity, Christ calls you and gently says, my sibling, choose again. This was the thought that broke me out of this loop of allowing my emotions to drag me into this abyss of misery. Trials, A Course says, are but lessons that you failed to learn presented once again. So where you made a faulty choice before, now you can make a better one and thus escape all pain that you chose before, that what you chose before has brought to you. In the past, I had chose to believe the voice that said feeling true happiness always leads to tragedy, but in this moment, I made a different choice. Allowing myself to be happy doesn't cause misery to appear. My thoughts, my ego, it's the only cause of misery around here. And I can choose to see the truth about it and to begin to purify my thoughts and let them go. Now, when I let those heavy energies go, I'm no longer weighed down by fear or by guilt or shame or any other thoughts that keep me in those lower psychological states. Instead, as teacher and author Michael Singer says, I'll go higher and higher. I will learn the secret of ascent, which is never to look down. Singer, like a course, says we are constantly given choices in this life. We can choose to hang out with the lower states. We can choose to be in our fear. We can choose to be in our guilt or our shame or our depression or our loneliness or anything that spurs us to seek happiness outside of ourselves, or we can choose to stop looking down and release those heavy feelings and float higher and higher upward into our higher divine states of peace and joy and love. And that doesn't mean that we deny our lower states or say they don't exist. Those feelings are real. But what Michael Singer is saying is that we don't have to give our attention to them, and we don't have to try to arrange the world outside of us so that nothing hits them and causes us to feel pain or depression or loneliness. Instead, we acknowledge those feelings. We acknowledge that pain. We see it as the egoic defensive patterns that they represent, and we release them. We allow them to be felt, to be seen, to be experienced, and then finally released. When we feel the pain of a blockage getting hit, Singer says, that's a good thing. It's a chance to work on yourself. It didn't bring on the death of my cat, but the pain I felt gave me the chance to work with that pattern of despair, to see that it wasn't true, and to let it go. And when I let go of that blocked energy, the only thing that changed, my cat's still dead, but the only thing that changed were my feelings and the direction that they were flowing. That energy that kept me feeling weighed down released me, and we floated up together. That energy was purified, and it made me stronger instead of weaker. And this jubilance is how we get high. We feel the pain of our lower states, but we don't stick around with them and wallow in them. Instead, we recognize the gifts that they can give us when we allow them to be seen for the old useless patterns that they are. We feel their pain, but we recognize their gifts and allow them to rise up through and out of us. If we'll just allow ourselves to get one toke over the line, which is one step outside of the ego's heavy constraints into that spiritual high that we're called to live in all times, then we can hop on that divine train that takes us back home to our unity with one another and the whole. Breathe deep, because I'm gonna get one toke over the line, sweet Jesus, so over the line. Sitting downtown in a railroad station, won't go over the line. Waiting for the train goes home, sweet Mary, hoping that the train's on time. Sitting downtown in a railroad station, won't go over the line. I'll stay away from country life. But now Lucifer. Anybody watch that one? Nah, all right. All right, well, I'm going to tell you then. In the TV show Lucifer, hell is not depicted as an eternal place of external torture in some fiery pit. Instead, it's an eternity in something called a hell loop, where you are tortured internally by your own guilt. In one scene, a man who was recently murdered was set to spend eternity in the bedroom of his luxury yacht. Now, that's not a bad setting if you consider the externals, but the never-ending torture of the guilt that he felt inside of his mind was going to make that external luxury pretty worthless really quick. In hell, Lucifer tells the hapless dead man, "You are your own jailer. You brought yourself here." Yeah. With every choice we make, Jubilees, we either create our own hell or our own heaven. The poor souls in Lucifer may be trapped for an eternity by their guilt, but the good news for us is we can choose again. Whenever we find ourselves in a hell of our own making, such as believing that being too happy will bring tragedy in your life, I mean, just saying it out loud, how stupid is that? How ridiculous. But I can choose again. You can choose again to release the old, useless, painful pattern and use that energy that you've been using to torture yourself to get yourself high. And which, of course, it's easier said than done. As children, we all build defenses against pain in the world, and we don't know any better. This is why we should never guilt ourselves about this, because we just don't know any better. We didn't have very much choice but to use whatever resources we had at hand to protect ourselves from a world we barely understood, let alone knew how to defend ourselves against in a healthy way for whatever traumas were coming our way. There's no blame, there is no shame for any of the patterns that you have developed over the years that you use to keep pain at bay. Those lower states, they served a purpose, and they seemed to work just fine for a while. They worked so well, in fact, that we build our entire lives on them. For example, I built a life for many, many years on a foundation of anger, on a foundation of cynicism and resentment after my father left our family. I thought I had this happy, fulfilling life, but those feelings of anger and cynicism and resentment, they never went away. How could they? That's the foundation that I have built my life on. Of course they're still there. This is what Jesus means when he warns us not to build our lives on shifting sand. These lower energy states, these patterns that we unconsciously build our lives on to protect ourselves, they're unstable. You can't build a life on anger without it falling apart at some point. You can't build a life on loneliness and expect to not feel lonely. You can't build a life on despair and expect it to go away. That's your foundation. And you got to recognize whether you have built your life on shaking sand, shifting sand, or whether you have built your life on a rock, on those higher energetic states of love and peace and joy. So jubilance, it is time to get high. It is time to let whatever you have built on fear, whatever you have built on despair, whatever you have built on anger, let it fall. It wants to. It's always constantly shifting. So let go of that energy. Let it go. Let it fall down. All that past pain that you've used as a foundation, it's time to feel it. It's time to recognize it as the useless pattern that it is. It's time to purify it and allow it to just pass through you and transform you from that lower energy to that higher energy of peace and love and joy. That's where we build our lives now, on peace, on love, on joy. Now, Michael Singer gives us a handy little physical tool to use whenever we find ourselves stuck in our own hell loop, hanging out. See, the baby's in a hell loop. I'm sorry. Sorry, baby boy. So this is what you do when you just want to cry like a baby. You're hanging out in that lower state of guilt and fear or despair or loneliness. He says, take your finger. All right, this is audience participation. Take your finger and put it right between your eyebrows. Touch that third eye of peace and wisdom. And instead of physically looking down, make this a reminder to look up. To look up. The secret to ascent is to never look down. So when you feel like you're looking down, make yourself look up. It's all about choice, Jubilants.
In my yard, you better be looking down.
Bob says in his yard, you better look down. Yeah. You will be in a hell loop. A stinky one, yes. Yeah, the dog knows. Yeah, that's right. The dog said amen. Only in Jubilee. Jubilants, it's all about choice. You got a choice to keep looking down, hanging out in your hell loop, or you can choose again whether those hellish thoughts are where you want to be. When they start to drag you down, go, nope, I'm going to choose again. Choose to look up and allow those painful energies to be seen and healed and released so they can take you that one toke over the line, right out of the clutches of your lower egoic state into your natural, divine, higher state. Jubilants, I invite you in this moment to begin to build your house, build your life on that solid rock of love and joy and peace, and allow the shifting sands of guilt or fear or despair or loneliness to just wash away that hell loop of a life that you have created before this moment. It's true what a course says. When we choose to get high, not one part of your life will be left unhealed. We are created to be an altar of joy, Jubilants, built on that solid divine rock, and no matter what kind of rain, wind, or flood comes at us from the outside world, it cannot fail. I can tell you from experience that choosing again, looking up, and allowing that lower energy to be purified and transformed, it is one of the best highs that you will ever experience in your life. So I invite you this morning, Jubilants, let us all get one toke over the line. Sweet Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. One toke over the line, sweet Jesus. One toke over the line. Sing downtown in the railway station. One toke over the line. Oh, just waiting for the train goes home, sweet Mary, hoping that the train is on time. Sing downtown in the railway station. One toke over the you in this prayer time. This is where, here's the secret. This is where the high gets really good. This is where you get the munchies, right? And you get hungry, and you get hungry for the things that this world cannot give you. You don't want potato chips. You don't want ice cream. You don't want any of that stuff. You get hungry for that eternal food only the Spirit can give. You get the munchies for peace. You get the munchies for joy. You get the munchies for love. You get the munchies for compassion. you want to be that in the world. You want to be so high in that when anybody meets you, they go, man, they're pretty high. I don't know what they're on, but I want some. See? What is that puppy's name, Virginia? Oscar. Oscar gets me. Oscar and I are high this morning. Oscar is talking to me. Woo! All right. I like it. I got an evangelical dog over there. So I invite you in this prayer time. Get high. Get high enough that you just crave that feeling of being one with the Spirit, of being one with everything in this world. That part about the munchies and all that stuff, that's just what I've heard. I have no idea. It's just what people tell me. You can listen to Michael play viola all the time. And Bruce Clark over there on guitar, Trisha Fopp over here on guitar and vocals, and Michael Sprinkles Reisman on viola, sprinkling, mandolin, everything over there. Beth D. Hart back here on drums, Keith Edwards Sr. on the bass. I love CC and the Recalcitrants. It's one of my favorite bands. Probably a good thing, right? Man, I hate that band. And one of my other favorite things, the whole wide world, is Jubilee Circle. And I love it. I love that I get the honor and the pleasure to come here every week and do this in front of y'all and in front of everybody out there in the World Wide Web. And I am grateful for this place. I am grateful for your support. I am grateful that y'all let me up here and do weird things and sing songs about getting high. I love it. It's a high for me. It really is. And so this is part of how we raise our consciousness, how we live in that higher divine self. We come and we celebrate together. We celebrate our oneness. We celebrate that we are all here together, and we are all here to support and love one another and get ourselves out of those hell loops and into our higher divine self. And so what happens is you support us with your money, and we continue on doing this. It supports this building. It supports the ministries that we do. It supports being able to do our open mics. It supports helping us help others by providing space for the yoga folks and providing places to meet and places to gather. So we ask that you continue to support Jubilee Circle. We thank you so much for the support that you have given in the past. And if you want to contribute, you can go to jubileecircle.com, and there is a donate button right there, and it will take you to PayPal or Venmo, or you can send us a check to P.O. Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina, 29204, and that will reach us, and we thank you for all of your support. Gratitude is what we like to feel. That's one of the ways, that's actually one of the quickest ways out of your hell loop. When the course tells us to choose again, you find yourself hanging out with all those lower states, fear and despair and all that, loneliness, whatever. Gratitude is the fastest way to break that hell loop, to get out, because you look at everything around you and you say, thank you so much for everything that I see in this world, everything that comes at me, even if I took it bad or good, everything comes to me for my edification. And our resident patron saint, I guess, Meister Eckhart, says if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. And so together we say, thank you, and we say, oh yeah. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together, hearts and arms open wide. Make the way by walking, and love will bring your life. Path is always open, and all treasure is denied. Open up your heart, let those tears you cry. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by Oh yeah. We got our Zoom coming up. Got our Zoom coming up in just a few minutes. You can join us on the Zoom. If you're not joining us on the Zoom here in the room or out there, have a great week. Thank you so much.